Well, this one sister is going to talk about something that some of us have been noticing. And what we notice is that, when it comes to Jamaicans, when it comes to Afro-Latinos, et cetera, other people in the diaspora outside of Black Americans, no one is really harping on them to claim their, African, descent, more so than Black Americans. Case in point, I want you to check out what this sister says.
I feel like the real reason that Africans, Caribbeans, and everyone from the diaspora is so bothered by Black Americans is because we do not let the African part of our lineage overshadow the American part, right? So when African Americans are creating all of this new culture and we're being the face of culture and creation and innovation all across the world, we are not giving that credit to our African heritage. And I think that is where all of the discomfort come from. Because every time there's a conversation about, the greatness of Black Americans in the world, every time a British person or Caribbean person opens their mouth to talk about Black people in America, it's always, oh, they don't know their roots. They don't know their heritage. When in fact, we do know our history, we do know our heritage, and we know that we are descendants of American slaves. And in those 500 years, we mixed with Europeans, Native Americans, Hispanics, and of course, the people who originally here were African. But we ourselves are not inherently African in any type of way. So because we don't give that credit in large to our African counterparts, there is jealousy and disdain there. And that's why there is always so much question about our identities. It's not that we don't know who we are, because we do know who we are. It's that you don't like who we claim to be. And because our American part of our identities is just as important as the African part of our identity, as well as the Native American, Hispanic, and everything else that mixes to make an African American, that rubs you the wrong way. You think that Africa should get more credit for the creation of Black America. The proof of this is you don't give Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, or Brazilians this same treatment, right? People are okay with Latinx, Afro-Latin people highlighting the Latin part of their culture over the African part of their culture. And the only reason that y'all are okay with that is because they have not reached the heights of creation and innovation that Black America has, right? And so because they haven't done anything as world-changing and as world-effective as Black America does, it doesn't matter as much to you. But because we have reached heights with our culture that our counterparts across the seas and in South America cannot reach or have not reached, because I won't say that you can't, it's a problem for you. You need us to say how African we are so that you can take credit for our greatness.
Now, I really do agree with at least with some people, that they want, FBAs to claim the African heritage. And most FBAs would tell you that we are people of African descent. Yes, we know where our ancestors come from, the continent, we know. But the only thing the FBAs are saying is that we've been here 400 plus years. I mean, come on. We've been here. We built America. We had to go through a whole, redoing of everything with us, right? For those who were brought here through the slave trade, they not speaking the African languages no more. We don't have the African culture. I'm telling you, because I've been to the African continent, we're not culturally African. We're not. We're African descent, but we're not culturally African. We don't cook their foods. We don't do some of the things that they do or some of the things they believe. Now, there are some things that I can tell you just from travel and just dealing with Black people globally that we all kind of have some similarities in some ways, but it's not exact. And it's okay to be culturally Black American, FBA. It's okay. It's okay to be culturally Ghanaian or Nigerian. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But when other people do something, they don't say, well, give props to a landmass, a continent. They say they want to give props to, their country. They want to give props to their particular ethnic group, right? But more so their country. But when Black Americans give props to, Black America and say, hey, we FBAs, we did this and that and the third. Oh, no, y'all don't know where y'all are from. No, we know exactly where we're from. Like I'm from Port Arthur, Texas. That's where I'm from. I know exactly where my family from there in Texas. I know a family from in Louisiana. I even know when my family landed in Virginia. I even know that too, right? So we know where we're from. I don't know. And notice they don't only say that to Black Americans because Jamaicans were taken from, and everybody in the Caribbean, a lot of them was taken too from the continent of Africa. Notice they don't tell Jamaicans you don't know where you from. They never tell Trinidadians, you know, some of them who say that ignorant stuff, you don't have a culture, because that would apply to Caribbean people too. It's like they accept them as, oh, that's your language, that's your culture, that's your people. When it comes to Black Americans, no. And I'm thinking a little bit maybe it's because they accept them as because they, you know, the government is Black, the president is Black. It's a quote unquote, you know, Black nation, Caribbean nation. And in this country, it's not a Black nation. It's not. You know, Black people aren't running the nation. Black people aren't controlling the money. We live here. We built the place, but we aren't, you know, controlling anything. So I'm thinking maybe it could be some of that. But regardless of that, they, you know, everybody want to try to lay claim or get credit off of what we have done. And no, you know, we are Black American. We have our culture. We have our, you know, things that have innovated the world. We have people who have invented things that innovated the world, right? So no. I mean, of course, you get props to where you're going to get props to, but we're going to be proud of our culture and be proud of who we are. It's just that simple. And have you noticed the delineation movement has really got everybody bothered? It's crazy because the people who are delineating the most were people on the continent. They delineate. They are the kings and queens of delineation. The Caribbean, they delineate. But when FBA starts to delineate, all of a sudden it's a problem. Now that in itself, they need to have a conversation about that. Why does it bother you so much that FBAs have delineated?